What if I told you that one of the Bible's greatest love stories wasn't about a young man sweeping a woman off her feet, but about a 53-year-old bachelor who thought his chance at love had passed him by? I'm Boaz, and this is my story. Everyone knows Ruth was loyal. Everyone knows Naomi was bitter. But nobody talks about me, the man standing in the fields, watching, waiting, wondering if God had forgotten about the desires of my heart. Let me take you back. Bethlehem, harvest season. The year doesn't matter because loneliness feels the same in every generation. I had everything. Land stretching as far as the eye could see, workers who respected me, grain stores that overflowed every season. The elders called me Gibor Chayil, mighty man of valor, man of substance. But here's what they didn't say out loud. No wife, no children, no heir. At 53, I'd made peace with it, or so I told myself. You see, when you're wealthy, you learn something painful. Women don't see you. They see your fields, your silver, your status. I'd stopped looking years ago, stopped hoping. The harvest came and went. Workers arrived and departed. Nothing changed. Until that day. I was returning from business in Bethlehem, scanning my fields with the practiced eye of a man who'd built an empire from dust. That's when I saw her. A new face among the gleaners. She didn't move like the others. There was weariness in her shoulders, yes, but something else. A resolve, a dignity that didn't match her circumstances. My heart did something it hadn't done in years. It stirred. "Who is that?" I asked my foreman, trying to keep my voice steady. He glanced over. "Oh, that's Ruth, the Moabite, the one who came back with Naomi." And just like that, everything clicked. The whole town had been buzzing about Naomi's return, the bitter widow who left Bethlehem full and came back empty. 10 years in Moab, lost her husband, lost both sons, came back with nothing but grief. But it was what my foreman said next that changed everything. She asked permission to glean this morning, been on her feet since dawn, barely rested. I watched her bend down, pick up grain, stand, bend again. The Hebrew word flooded my mind. Hesed, covenant love, loyal kindness, the kind of love that costs you everything and expects nothing back. I'd heard the stories about Ruth, how she'd refused to abandon her mother-in-law, how she'd left her own people, her own gods, to follow Naomi to a foreign land. "Your God will be my God," she told Naomi. "Where you die, I will die." Easy words to say. But watching Ruth in my field, hands blistered, back bent under the sun, gathering grain for an old woman who had nothing to offer her, this wasn't obligation. This was love, real love. And something in me, something I thought was dead, woke up. Comment below if you've ever felt like your best years were behind you, because what happens next will blow your mind. I walked toward her. My heart actually quickened. When was the last time that happened? She looked up as I approached. For a moment, the noise of the harvest faded. Her eyes held a grief I recognized and a strength I admired.
"Listen, my daughter," I said, keeping my voice gentle. "Don't go and glean in another field, and don't go away from here. Stay here with the women who work for me." She looked startled, confused even. I continued, "Watch the field where the men are harvesting, and follow along after the women. I have told the men not to lay a hand on you, and whenever you are thirsty, go and get a drink from the water jars the men have filled." Her face went pale. She fell to her knees, bowing low. "Why have I found such favor in your eyes that you notice me, a foreigner?" And there it was, that word, foreigner. She saw herself as an outsider, an alien, unworthy of kindness. but I saw something entirely different. "I've been told all about what you have done for your mother-in-law since the death of your husband," I said, and I meant every word. "How you left your father and mother and your homeland and came to live with a people you did not know before." I watched tears form in her eyes. "May the Lord repay you for what you have done. May you be richly rewarded by the Lord, the God of Israel, under whose wings you have come to take refuge." That day, I ordered my workers to pull out extra stalks from the bundles, leave them for her, deliberately. I made sure she ate with us at mealtime, roasted grain, bread, more than she needed. I watched her carefully wrap the leftovers. For Naomi, of course. This woman wasn't just surviving, she was thriving in the margins, finding God in the gleanings. And I couldn't look away. The harvest season lasted weeks, and every single day Ruth returned. Every single day I found excuses to walk through that section of the field. "Just checking on the harvest," I'd tell my foreman. But who was I fooling? I was checking on her. Watching the way she treated the other workers, the careful way she gathered grain, the quiet strength that never faltered. My admiration was growing into something I didn't dare name. Not yet. Not at my age. You see, Ruth was young, maybe 25 years old, beautiful in a way that had nothing to do with her appearance and everything to do with her character. And me? I was 53, old enough to be her father. Why would a woman like her choose a man like me when there were younger, stronger options? So I watched, I provided, I protected, but I didn't presume. If you're enjoying this perspective on a story you thought you knew, hit that like button right now and subscribe, because we're about to get to the part that nobody talks about. Harvest ended. The threshing began. I'd worked hard that day, separated the grain from the chaff. The work was satisfying, physical, real. That evening, we celebrated. Good food, wine, laughter. I ate well, drank a little, felt content. When it was time to sleep, I lay down by the grain pile, a common practice. Someone had to guard against thieves. I fell asleep quickly, at peace, tired. And then I woke up. Something was different. I felt a presence at my feet. My heart hammered. I sat up slowly, squinting in the darkness. "Who are you?" I whispered.
"I am Ruth, your servant," came the soft reply. "Spread the corner of your garment over me, since you are a guardian redeemer of our family." My mind exploded. In that culture, this was scandalous, dangerous. If anyone saw us, both our reputations would be destroyed. But Ruth wasn't here to seduce. She was here to petition. "Spread your wing over your servant." She was invoking the law, the right of the kinsman redeemer, the duty of a relative to marry a widow and preserve the family line. And then it hit me like lightning. Ruth wasn't here because she was desperate. She was here because she'd chosen me. Out of all the younger men, all the easier options, she'd chosen the older man of character, the man of Hesed. My voice came out thick with emotion. "The Lord bless you, my daughter. This kindness is greater than that which you showed earlier. You have not run after the younger men, whether rich or poor." Do you understand what I was saying? You could have had anyone. You chose me, and that means more than you'll ever know. "And now, my daughter, don't be afraid," I continued. "I will do for you all you ask. All the people of my town know that you are a woman of noble character." But there was a problem, a big one. Although it is true that I am a guardian redeemer of our family, there is another who is more closely related than I. Stay here for the night, and in the morning, if he wants to do his duty as your guardian redeemer, good, let him redeem you. But if he is not willing, as surely as the Lord lives, I will do it." I couldn't sleep the rest of that night. Ruth lay at my feet until morning, proper, respectful, honorable. Before dawn, before anyone could see, I sent her away with 6 measures of barley. Don't go back to your mother-in-law empty-handed, I told her. But really, I was making a promise, a down payment, a declaration. I will fight for you. Comment below if you believe in second chances, because what happened next at the city gate was a battle, and I wasn't going to lose. Morning came. I didn't waste time. I went straight to the city gate, the ancient courthouse, the place where legal matters were settled. I needed 10 elders as witnesses. I gathered them quickly. Then I waited. My heart pounded. My palms sweated. I hadn't felt this nervous since I was a young man. And then he showed up. The other kinsman redeemer, the one who had the first legal right to Ruth. "Come over here, my friend, and sit down," I called out. He sat, curious, unsuspecting. Now here's where I had to be strategic. I started with the land. Naomi, who has come back from Moab, is selling the piece of land that belonged to our relative Elimelech. I thought I should bring the matter to your attention and suggest that you buy it in the presence of these seated here and in the presence of the elders of my people. I watched his eyes light up. Land, valuable, profitable. I continued, "If you will redeem it, do so. But if you will not, tell me, so I will know. For no one has the right to do it except you, and I am next in line." He nodded eagerly. "I will redeem it. Hook, line."
Now for the truth. On the day you buy the land from Naomi, you also acquire Ruth the Moabite, the dead man's widow, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property. I watched his face change. The calculation, the realization. If he married Ruth and she bore a son, that son wouldn't be his heir. The son would carry the name of Ruth's dead husband. All cost, no benefit to his own legacy. The land suddenly wasn't so appealing. "Then I cannot redeem it," he said quickly, "because I might endanger my own estate. You redeem it yourself. I cannot do it." He took off his sandal, the ancient way of sealing a legal transaction, and handed it to me. And just like that, she was mine. I stood up, holding that sandal like a trophy. "Today you are witnesses," I announced to everyone gathered, "that I have bought from Naomi all the property of Elimelech, Kilion, and Mahlon. I have also acquired Ruth the Moabite, Mahlon's widow, as my wife, in order to maintain the name of the dead with his property, so that his name will not disappear from among his family or from his hometown. Today you are witnesses." The elders blessed us. "Through the offspring the Lord gives you by this young woman, may your family be like that of Perez, whom Tamar bore to Judah." I could barely hear them over the roaring in my ears. I'd won. Not just the legal right, I'd won her. If this story is touching your heart, please subscribe and share this with someone who needs to hear it. I married Ruth. The lonely bachelor became a husband. The foreign widow became a beloved wife. And Naomi, bitter Naomi who'd come back empty, she held her head high again. Joy returned to her eyes. But here's what still takes my breath away. Ruth became pregnant. At my age, I never thought I'd be a father, never thought I'd hold a son in my arms, but I did. We named him Obed. The women of the town celebrated with Naomi, "Praise be to the Lord, who this day has not left you without a guardian redeemer. May he become famous throughout Israel. He will renew your life and sustain you in your old age. For your daughter-in-law, who loves you and who is better to you than 7 sons, has given him birth." 7 sons, the perfect number, the ideal family. And they said Ruth was better. Naomi took little Obed and cared for him, her grandson, her redeemer.
but I knew something they didn't. I'd set out to redeem 2 widows, to do my duty, to honor the law. But in truth, Ruth redeemed me. She pulled me from comfortable solitude, from the predictable loneliness of success, from a life that looked full but felt empty. She gave me a family, a purpose, a legacy. And that legacy? It stretched farther than I could have imagined. Obed grew up and had a son named Jesse. Jesse had a son named David. Yes, King David, the shepherd boy who became Israel's greatest king, the man after God's own heart. And centuries later, a descendant of David would be born in my hometown of Bethlehem. Jesus, the ultimate Redeemer. You see, God didn't just give me a second chance at love. He gave me a role in the redemption of the entire world. The Moabite woman and the 53-year-old bachelor who thought his best years were behind him, we're in the lineage of the Messiah. Let that sink in. Comment "redeemed" if this story has changed how you see your own season of waiting. Here's what I learned. Wealth without connection is just comfortable loneliness. I had everything but the one thing that mattered. Real love recognizes character, not just beauty or youth. Her calloused hands were more beautiful to me than jewels. Sometimes the person you're called to redeem is actually redeeming you. I thought I was saving her. She saved me. True Hesed, covenant love, requires action, risk, and sacrifice, not just good intentions. I had to fight at that city gate. I had to risk rejection. I had to step out of comfortable predictability. And most importantly, it's never too late for God to write a new chapter in your story. I thought at 53 my story was written, done, comfortable, but finished. I was wrong. God was just getting started. If you've ever felt too old for God to use you significantly, this story is for you. If you've ever thought your chance at purpose or love is past, this story is for you. If you ever wondered if your best years are behind you, listen to me. God specializes in second chapters. He delights in using unlikely people at unlikely ages for His most important purposes.
Ruth walked into my field on an ordinary day, just another gleaner, just another face in the crowd. But she was my God-appointed moment. Your Ruth moment might be one encounter away, one conversation, one unexpected person who shows up in your field. Keep your eyes open. Stay faithful in the waiting, because sometimes the greatest love stories aren't about finding the perfect person at the perfect time. They're about recognizing the God-appointed person when they show up and having the courage to fight for them. I'm Boaz, and I'm telling you from experience, your best chapter might still be unwritten. God's not done with you yet. If this story opened your eyes to something new, hit that like button. Subscribe for more behind-the-scenes looks at Bible stories you thought you knew. Drop a comment. What other minor biblical character would you like to hear from? Let's uncover more hidden stories together. Because the Bible isn't just ancient history. It's living, breathing truth. And your story? It's still being written. Trust the author. He knows what he's doing, even when you're 53 and think it's too late, especially then. This is Bible Behind the Scenes. And remember, the best scenes, they're often the ones we've overlooked until now.